Y'all, this is Will.
Matt.
And today we are going to be playing another scenario in our ITS exploration as we learn to play this game and not suck quite as bad. And today we are playing
The Armory.
Yes, Matt picked this scenario because we've been killing each other too much lately. We've been getting scenarios where literally the goal ends up being kill the crap out of everything in sight. And so we're going for something much more finesse-based.
But luckily it was also, when we went down the list in order in the ITS manual, it was also the next one that we hadn't played already or played a crap load in Flame Strike. So, yeah,
we somehow completely avoided ever playing this one. After learning how to pronounce
Monopoly,
we figured out the rules for this one, and it looks kind of interesting. And do you want to go over the rules?
Well, basically what you have is you have a control room here. It has 2 Monopolies in the corner, and it has closed doors. What you're going to need to do, there's restrictions on when you can interact with the Monopolies. I believe that's the second round. But you got to have a specialist open the doors. Each turn, whoever dominates the zone gets points. Starting with the second turn, you can interact with the Monopolies, and they have booty tables.
They do.
Booty tables. Because we're 14, so the booty tables, you can roll to loot something out of them, or if you have
a scavenger, or what's the other one? There's 2 rules. There's like scavenger and something else.
The scavenger, you get bonuses to looting it, but if you have something with expendable armament, like the Panzerfaust. If you've gone ahead and burned all your Panzerfaust shells, you can go ahead and reload from the Panoply once per Panoply, I believe. You got the rules
also,
over there. We can double check that.
I think in terms of scavenger, you don't even need to roll. There's no bonus. You don't even need to roll. You just spend like a short order. It's just like you would spend a short order to roll for it with a specialist. I believe if you have scavenger, I'll go back and read it in a second. You can just drop a short order and you loot it. Must be nice.
I'm gonna go ahead and start reading through it.
I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, I've already taken a couple shots in the dark at what he brought with nomads here, and if I guessed correctly, I'm gonna have to shoot a certain model really hard.
Yeah.
So
shoot one.
Oh God, he brought 2. Okay. Well, any other rules other than classified?
Probably. We have 2 classified objectives.
Okay.
I believe that's what we got. We got one? Oh, okay. Well, then we've corrected that before people correct us. And by the way, as is the running theme for many of you that have just joined us, we're going to get stuff wrong because we're just learning.
Yeah.
And we don't actually have people to learn from other than the wonderful internet community.
Yeah, we are the local community.
we are the meta.
So other than Operation Flame Strike, these are our first scenarios, really.
Yeah.
And we got to play the Operation Flame Strike ones all the time, so these are all new to us.
So we're going to get stuff wrong, and we love it when people come up and say, hey, y'all did that wrong. It goes this way, it goes that way. I mean, we like it better when we get it right.
Yeah,
but y'all have been really helpful about teaching us, essentially. And
true bros.
God, man. Awesome. So
with that, let's start.
Let's get it on.
Oceania turn 1. This was a setup turn. My opponent set up really well, and I could not really see any of his models, and there's not much I could do to limit his order pool this turn. So I decided to try to position and lock down the field, or at least lock down the center room so he couldn't get to it next turn. The first thing I did was moved my HMG drone, my Sierra, up over here to try to get some coverage over what I assume are going to be bandits and TO. I'm not sure.
Bandits just have camo. They're not TO.
Oh, I thought those were like TO markers.
No, they're camo markers.
Well, poop. Okay, well I assume those are bandits either way. Then I moved up my heavy shotgun bulleteer over here, and he's sitting behind a wall just waiting for some punk to walk through. I couldn't really position him better, I don't think. There was nowhere else for him to go that wouldn't leave him also very vulnerable. Then I used a coordinated order, and we actually had a little bit of a question and a roll-off here where I chose my Aquila Guard, a Fusilier, another Fusilier, and another Fusilier. Now, originally I wanted to use my Auxilia, but I couldn't. I know in the in N3 you couldn't use a coordinated order with a G-synced model, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't know if Human Sphere may have changed that, and honestly I haven't checked if like maybe you could just select both of them and just use up 2 people of your coordinated order and move a G-synced model. So we rolled off for it. I lost the roll, so I just chose the Fusiliers to move instead of that thing. Using that, I got the Aquila Guard farther up here and tried to get him some field coverage to where the models over here couldn't move out as easily and had to make a harder decision. From there, I moved my Auxilia into a defensive position over here to try to lock down some of the doorways for the enemy. And then I went on to start with my 5-man bolt link team. And we moved them from right about here on up the field through here. And we failed the first time we tried to hack the door, but we succeeded the second time. And I went ahead and spread them out through that room to try to give them some nasty coverage. So we got a couple special weapons in there that should cause some problems should he try to get in there. And we will see if their 5-man link will hold the room well or what's going to happen. So let's go on to Nomad's turn 1.
Hey guys, here we go. We got Nomad's turn 1. So basically what we've done, we looked at this board and saw what we had. We got a room full of bolts, and we'll come back to that later. Well, what we have is this corridor right here, which was basically a little tiny kill zone, but it was a kill zone nonetheless.
Corridor of pain.
Of the Aquila Guard and the Sierra.
Total Reaction HMG.
Total Reaction HMG, but yeah, because they're so groovy. Who doesn't love Total Reaction HMGs when they're on their side? What I had over here was I had a Harris team of Jaguars with Senior Massacre, and I had a Bandit. What I did, as you might notice here, was a combined move, grenade, smoking situation. That one allowed me to get Senior Massacre from this point right here all the way up to here.
And those white ones, those are
Eclipse grenades.
So white noise in essence.
The Eclipse grenades allowed us a little coverage to move when the Aquila Guard was a thing that I had to worry about. Now, I had the Bandit was right here, and I did the move where, yeah, we had Bandit right there, and I did a round of step out and fire with my adhesive launcher, and I successfully hit the Aquila Guard.
Should we do a reenactment?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Why? Did I not bring an engineer?
Because it hadn't been an issue yet.
Well, never happened before, so I didn't worry about it.
But glue guns are awesome, so you need to buy an engineer.
But it happened now,
Was
so.
they trying to get away with something like a Haley?
Also the great thing about that was we had good range. He had good range, so the Aquila Guard took a shot at the return fire on the Bandit, hit, and the Bandit actually made an armor save and lived. So the Bandit tried his mojo with some toys that were in the box, and that did not work so well, so that's why that Bandit is not there anymore. But with the rest of those smoke shenanigans, we were able to move
So it's not like dice -5, it's dice plus now.
a dog
You can only knock off 5 damage. So.
Jaguar into that position. From there, we were able to get
Chain rifle.
our chain rifle into that corner. So we chain rifled down the Spitfire that was in the corner.
But he's unconscious.
He's unconscious, so if there's healerin' to be done, he can be healered. But that pretty much ended. Everything else over here didn't really do anything, but also didn't get removed from the board from doing anything stupid. So,
step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean that's if you've been following, you'll notice that a lot of these games are pretty much over by this point, and we're just playing them out. There's signs of hope, but at this point in time, it's the end of turn one. Obviously, the bolts that are still there are dominating, so you get the point for dominating the turn.
Yes.
And turn two is about to start, so we can start interacting with panoplies and getting the booty.
And so we shall.
Let's get the booty.
All right. Oceania turn 2. Okay, this turn was all about looting the booty. So, my link team orders were almost completely spent looting the booty table, and I got things like a multi-sniper rifle and like an adhesive launcher, which is nifty. But then my Spitfire
Bolt with the Spitfire.
Yeah, my Spitfire bolt, or in essence my spearhead, got ODD, and I can't tell you how happy I am about that. Then I spent a good bit of orders getting my heavy shotgun bulleteer up the field, and originally he just moved up and shot Senor Massacre in the back of the head with 2 heavy shotgun shells.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, that made him very dead because he couldn't react. Then I scooted up the field here and tried to break up his link team a little bit with the bulleteer shotgun drone, because honestly, let's face it, he's not that expensive and not going to cost me that much if he dies. I did get a wound in early on, but he's also got a shotgun and he's in a 5-man link team. So honestly, he's having a hard time missing.
Yeah.
So after
At that range especially.
After a couple exchanges, I ended up on the bad end and he dealt a wound. So that's where he's at. I think that was most of my orders.
You did hire. You did
my bad. Early on in the turn, I used my bolt paramedic to get over there, and I rolled a 1. So that poor guy who took the chain rifle to the face got up, and he's okay.
And now has ODD.
And now has ODD. Sorry, I'm excited.
I should be excited. It's
All
exciting.
right, and that's the end of turn 2.
Nomad's turn 2. Well, it had gotten kind of ugly here, so really what we were trying to do was accomplish something with our 5-man brigada team, and popped up over here. Got into position. The bulleteer. That's bulleteer. That's the Sierra.
That's a Sierra HMG.
The Sierra was making life miserable. Eventually, we were able to get the hacker in position and got to that, so that toned it down, and then we just tried to get to where we could start whittling down those bolts, but the bolts were just too well wedged in there. So there's not much we could do. We kept firing, didn't have a whole lot of luck. So that turn is going to end. He'll get the points for dominating the room again. I'm going to be in retreat at the beginning of my turn, so we're just going to have you roll the number of however many times you can loot in your turn.
Well, my troops can only loot like,
Yeah.
1 box each.
1 box each.
So honestly,
It doesn't really matter how many times you loot the box, because you're only going to get points for looting the box more than I did. So
in the end it would be irrelevant.
yeah,
So we could just call the battle there.
we'll pretty much call the battle there.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up.
Wrap up in just a second.
Okay. And wrap up of the Armory. The Armory is an interesting scenario. I had a list. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, if it was going to be effective. My plan was to go with a 5-man brigada link and a small link of a Harris link of Jags with Senior Massacre, and a couple of bandits, because the bandits have scavenger, and if I could have gotten them into the room and have the booty scavenge loot, then they would have been all so groovy on that. But what I did was I set up trying not to give up AROs, or not setting up for AROs and not leaving myself hung out to dry in the first round. So I didn't give him a position to take any orders in the first round.
Yeah.
But what that also left in a position was his ability to just get across the board uncontested whatsoever. And really in that first round, he got the Bolt team in the room.
Yeah.
And he got the Sierra and the Aquila in position that they could dictate all movement on the board.
Yeah.
I was able to isolate the Aquila. If I had been more active with my Brigada in the first turn, then I could have isolated the Sierra as well, and things might have gone differently. But
Yeah.
total reaction.
I mean,
total reaction is a good thing. There's
Yeah,
a reason
it's-
we have picked it
It's
as
rough.
the title.
And when I went into this fight, I knew he had access to the bandits. I knew they had booty or scavenger.
Scavenger.
And
Scavenger.
after reading the rules,
First you get the scavenger, then you get the booty.
All right, but I knew they had it, and I wanted to prepare for it. So I was going to bring a 5-man Bolt team, just kind of bring the pain to the room if I got first turn. That was just my goal, was to get into the first turn with the Link team, and I did. And yeah, I brought the Sierra and the Aquila Guard, and when I saw what his list was as he was getting ready, I knew that I was going to try and just seclude or just hold his Link team in one spot. And nothing does that better, nothing holds anything better than a total reaction drone. I mean, people don't want to come out and shoot at that. It just sucks. So I tried to lock down that side, and he began to manage it. If that second adhesive shot would have hit that Sierra drone, this would have been a totally different game.
Yeah.
Because those 5-man Link team, I mean, that's 5 HIs coming down the field. That's rough. There's no way the Bolts were going to handle that without luck. And
Totally misused Senior Massacre.
yes,
As my first attempt with him, I had the proxy here. Maybe part of it was that, I only had the proxy. By the time I show up again, I had done paid for him. He's on his way.
oh, okay. Okay, so once the money is invested, he'll care more. And I mean,
We'll see about that,
but I thought you did Senior Massacre okay. I mean, what hurt was that he was up close and he hadn't done his work.
yeah.
The fact that he was close to me and I had an Auxilia right next to him and a heavy shotgun remote next to him, he was going down.
Yeah.
If you're near a heavy shotgun remote and an Auxilia, they're just going to spray you to pieces. I mean,
Really, now that I'm investing in having him there, hate to say crutch, but the 5-man Jag Link with Senior Massacre in it, it's going to be hard to convince yourself not to take if you're going to play the regular list.
that much smoke and the white noise smoke, it was fearsome.
There's
nothing I could do about it.
It was quite effective. And
I had my HMG total reaction and my HMG on my Aquila were useless because he peppered the field in white noise and smoke. So
head blind is good.
yeah, I mean it was really well done. Any thoughts on Armory? I mean, for me, it just appears that 5-man Link is really strong in this because holding that zone. I mean, you can spread out pretty well because it's an 8x8,
Yeah.
and holding that zone is a lot easier when you have a 5-man Link in there.
Yeah, and really, if you can get wedged in and hold that from the early point, I mean, you're going to have to pass through the hot gates to get into the room.
Yeah.
Which means if you've got something there, especially if you've got something, because my plan had been to get in there with the Panzerfaust standing next to the Panoply,
Yeah.
and well, that could have been very room holding.
Yeah. And, I mean, assaulting the room, once someone has the room, the only way you're really getting in there is probably flamethrowers, chain rifles, shotguns.
Yeah.
I mean, missile launchers would work well too, and so would rocket launchers, but I mean, flamethrowers and chain rifles are so fire and forget that if you had a couple of them on a cheap unit.
Popping them in there and not having to roll takes that chaos part out of it.
Yeah, I got lucky and survived one, but that one he got in there could have easily taken my Link team from 5 to 3, and there's nothing I could have done about it. I mean, I could have tried to dodge it, but realistically, I got lucky.
Yeah. Well,
And if he took it, I was going to do the same to him. I was going to throw some shotguns and heavy flamethrowers in there and just say goodbye and see what he could do about it. So,
what's that old song, 99 Teardrops? Yeah, teardrop templates are good.
teardrop templates are good.
Glue guns are good.
Any other notes on this one? Oh yeah, glue guns.
Glue guns. Glue guns. No, those bandits are going to be pretty commonplace.
62
as well.
points. Useless.
Yeah. that piece that I have lamented for so long. Acres stood and watched.
If you don't know who Akers is, there's a whole lot of story to our games that was in Operation Flame Strike, and he hates Akers.
I do, with a passion. I put a bounty on his head. The man's weight in Cheetos and Twinkies for the person who brought me the head of Acres. And I was actually going to pay it out because, you take a model, you weigh it up, okay? It weighs like 3 ounces. I will bring you 3 ounces of Cheetos and Twinkies. I was waiting for that to happen,
But, no. Any closing notes?
Like this game, like this scenario, like our terrain. Our board's looking better.
Yeah, we're getting more and more Plascraft, as you can tell if you're familiar with the Plascraft scenery. It's the Plascraft colored Yujing scenery. We're hoping to get some LEDs on this soon. Hopefully on like some of the overhangs and some of the signs that we get a little bit LEDs up.
And we get a mat to bring it all together, and we'll have a good looking board.
Yeah, eventually. It's slowly but surely coming together. We'll be putting the fight on Wanna Rumble like we did last time.
Yeah, y'all need to check
really
that
cool
out.
service to challenge your friends on, and you can also just, if locals are in it, you can also see who else is nearby with it.
Or if you're road tripping somewhere.
Yeah, find some
you should
punks
be
to
able to find
fight.
somebody to find while you're stuck in a hotel somewhere. Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time. Probably taking next week off, but the week
Probably.
after that.
And next week being Father's Day, we're probably not going to be here, but we'll be updating in probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yep.
All right, we'll have a new scenario for y'all to see. All right,
We'll see you.
catch you next time.